So we're going to create a Maven multi-module project for our automation, complete test automation projects that we're going to do. The first project is going to be automation framework. The second one is going to contain only the test cases. In framework, we're going to keep only the common code, the utilities, and it is going to have data providers and logic to read from file, database or read write into databases, some utilities for screenshot, etc. And in second module, we'll have only and only test cases or the logic of test cases. We'll have at the rate test annotation, at the rate before class, before method, etc. and after rate after class, after method, etc. So now when we have two projects in Maven concept, if both the projects are related somehow, so we can have a parent project. And as the business is same, like automation framework is going to be used by automation project, so we can create a parent project and we can call that test automation project. Okay, so in Maven we are going to create a parent project called as test automation project. In that we'll create two child projects or two sub modules. Okay, so to make this possible, we're going to go to Eclipse. In Eclipse, we're going to start a new project. So go to File, New, Other, Maven Project. So click on OK or Next. Then we need to create a simple project. Click Next. Now the group, artifact and version, these are the most important things which we need to give. The first one is com dot, this is the name of the domain or the group name. So we can have com dot studies dot test automation. So now we can keep this test automation as the artifact information. So let's cut and have that as the artifact version. Keep the version as 001 snapshot, packaging as jar, change this to POM. Fine. Now these are optional information, name and description, we can skip that and click on finish. Once you click on finish, you can see we have created a test automation as the parent Maven project. So in this parent Maven project, now we're going to create two sub projects. The first project is going to be AUT framework. So right click, new, Maven module. Let's click on search for Maven, go to module, click next. Now module name is AUT framework. And you can see the parent project is test automation. If it is not selected by default, go to browse and select the project name. Click on OK. Done. The next one is, okay, now it is asking for archetype. Archetype is the one which is going to help us create a dummy project for us within which we can start writing the code. You don't have to go into the complexity of creating the project, it will create the project for us. So let's keep this one Maven archetype quick start. That's fine, and click on next. And you can automatically see as it is inheriting the behavior from the parent. So it says group ID is com.mentorstudies by default and artifact ID is automation framework. So let's click on finish. We'll have the first module ready. You can see the automation framework module is ready. So this is a Java project as well as a Maven project by default. So we have this entire project structure which is ready, and you can see this project is actually coming from test automation. So this is the project which is created, which is converted into a Maven project. Now the first part is complete. We have the automation framework. Now we need to create the automation project, the second module. So let's repeat the same steps. Right click, new, the search for Maven. So it is by default selected. Click next. Next name is AUT project. AUT project. AUT project, and see the parent project is selected by default, and let's click on next. Keep the archetype as quick start, again next, and finish. Now we'll have two projects within test automation framework and automation project, and these two projects are created as Java project and Maven project on the top that we can see. So the more important thing is we need to work within these two projects only. We're going to work within these two projects. Yes, the parent project is test automation. So in each of the project we can see a pom.xml. Okay, so any pom.xml, that any dependency that exists in the parent, this parent project, any dependency that exists in the parent is automatically inherited into its children. So now if you want two dependencies, one for all these annotations, test-ng annotations, that is @test, @before, @data provider, for that we are going to have test-ng annotation, and the second is our Selenium annotation, with which we can find the element, we can perform certain operation, we can open up a browser, and we can do all other stuff. So let's copy these two dependencies into our parent pom.xml. Need to open the parent pom.xml, and there will be multiple tabs. You need to go to the pom.xml. Perfect, and all these things are very close, so let's format it. Okay, over here we can see the group, artifact, and version as displayed over here. Similarly, the packaging is pom, and there are two modules. Fine. Next thing is we need to have some of the dependencies. We have the dependencies tag. Within that we can add the dependency. So we can go back to our previous examples and we can copy the dependencies for test-ng and Selenium. So let's go to some of the old examples. Okay, Selenium dependency we have found, but we still need to find the test-ng dependency. Right? Selenium dependency is found. Next dependency is test-ng dependency. Close this project. Okay, and here is here we can find the test-ng dependency. To copy this one, paste it over here. So now we have both the dependencies in the parent project, and this parent project's dependencies are automatically inherited to its child classes. So the test automation is having these two dependencies. That means our automation framework and our automation project are going to have them. So let's close this. So let's expand the framework. So let's refresh the framework and check if we have received those dependencies or not. So within Maven dependencies, you can go and see, yeah, the Selenium dependencies are automatically inherited from the parent, and the test-ng dependencies, yeah, bottom, test-ng dependency has also been received. Similarly, we can check in the automation project as well. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to create a simple test in our automation project, and then we'll try to make identify which are the common things and which are the utility type things which are needed to be part of framework. Then we'll move those things into framework. So how to do that? So first of all, let me create a very simple test annotation over here. So let's delete the old code that was created automatically. Source main Java, source test Java. Let's delete everything. Perfect. Now the project is empty. The first code that we're going to write is a class file in Java. Let's give it a name, package name pom dot dot tests, and let's call it test example 1. So it is put into this package and the name is text example 1. Let's click on finish, and what we're going to have is a very simple test annotation @test. Okay, let it import the test annotation from test.ng, so it will take some time. Okay, fine. So this is not available as @test annotation is like inherited into the testing phase. We need to change the phase. The phase is scope is test. We can comment this out. So what does this mean? Like there are two different phases. One is like compiling and building the code, one is testing the code. So in Maven, if you want a certain dependency or a certain library to be available at a very particular time or a very particular scope, we can keep that scope over here in the dependency. So as test.ng is needed for testing purposes, so they have by default made this available at testing phase, but we need it at the development phase also. So let's comment this out and save the code. Then we'll go back to our example and we'll try to import it again. Now you can see the test.ng annotation is available. So I need to import from org.testng.annotations. Fine, and let's create the first method, public void test, and let's give it a name. Fine, and within this project we are going to not do anything else. We're just going to check int actual equals to some value, int expected is equal to some value. Expected comes first, actual comes second. Then we are going to check assert, going to import assert from test.ng. Never import assert from JUnit. org.testng.assert, this should be imported. Dot assert equals and the actual data, then the expected data, and if they are not equal, we can give a value actual or this is not working. Fine. So now we can save the code and we can run it as a test.ng project or test.ng example. So right click, run as. We won't get test.ng. Yes, we have got, because test.ng plugin is installed and this annotation is from test.ng. So right click, run as test.ng test. Yes, the test case has passed, no failures. Okay, now this is very simple. We have done our first test method. Now we are going to do create some more test examples, but they are going to be having some of the Selenium related code. This is a very simple code. We are going to have some Selenium code. For that, let's create another class. Control N, new class, Selenium test example. Fine. In Selenium test example, we are going to have a driver which is private web driver. We need to import from org.openqa.selenium. Private web driver equals to null by default, but we are going to create the driver when the class object is created or when a test case execution starts for the first time for a class, that is in the before class. So before class public void setup, and we are going to create the driver equals to new Firefox driver. We have created a new Firefox driver here, but for the Firefox driver we need to have certain things in place, that is setting up the environment. So once this environment setup is done, then we can create the driver. So how to set up the environment? We need to copy certain code from previous examples. So let's copy those examples. And we need to have these two drivers, Chrome driver and Gecko driver, in our automation project. Done. You can close this old example. Now fine, we have both the drivers, so let's check the properties if they have the permission to be executed. Yes. So now we have set the Gecko driver and the Chrome driver, and we are creating a Firefox driver. So the browser is going to be open after that. So let's give a comment or give a log that the driver is ready, on the browser is open and driver is ready. So in this before class we have created the browser instance, we have the driver reference. Next thing is we are going to write a test case, @test public void test Google home. So this test case is responsible for navigating to Google website and verify that we are on the Google page. So we're going to go and do the first thing, that is driver.get and the URL of Google. So let's copy the URL of Google. So this is the home page of Google, so we need to copy this and I'm going to paste it over here. Done. And next thing is we need to find out the title of the site is driver.get title. So this is going to give us the title of the Google's homepage. So what is the actual the expected title? It should be capital G small o GLE. That should be actual value when we test with the test annotation with this Selenium and TestNG approach. So before getting the actual title, we need to have expected title equals to, we need to have a value. This value is going to be GOOGLE. Then the next thing is we are going to check else it is going to fail. And after all the test cases are complete, in the after class what we can do, we can basically close the driver, public void close driver. But we are going to check if the driver is not mistakenly closed earlier. So if driver is not equals to null, then we can call the driver.close or driver.quit method. Quit is better because it kills all the instances that are open. Fine. So this much we have written, in which we have we have set up the environment. Then we are creating a Firefox driver, and then we are basically navigating to Google homepage and checking the Google's homepage's title, and we are checking if the title is same as we expected or not. If it is same, then it's great, it's going ahead, otherwise it will fail. And after all the test cases are executed, in our case we have just one test case. We can have multiple such @test annotations. After all of them have executed, then it will come to the after class. In after class, it's going to kill the browser that is open. So if you want to run this, what we'll do, we'll basically right click in the class, run as a TestNG test. So since it has opened up a Firefox window and it is navigating to Google homepage, and I think it has validated the Google's title. Because of that, the test case has passed. It says the browser is open and driver is ready. So one test case is run and there is no failure. Fine. And one more thing we need to check over here is we can have this. If you want to make this run on a Chrome, we can create the Chrome driver and we can run this the way we have run it earlier. So let's run this code. Let's see the output on Google Chrome. Fine. Similarly, in Google Chrome also the test case has passed. Now, what are the things that we can put into the framework and what are the things that get repeated that we'll understand after we really face the problem? So let's create one more test case. Let's not call it Google Home. Let's call it test. Some other example we need to have. Let's call as let's go to images and then check for this text, or let's just go to Google Images URL and verify the same thing. So first we need to go to Google Images. So that is Google Home. Let Google Images Home, and here we are going to go to Google Images Home. This is the URL where it is going, and the expected title is going to be Google and space images. So that's what we need to have in the expected condition. Yes, and fine, that's it. So now if we run the test case, we'll have two tests run. Right click, run as test-ng test. It's going to run on Google Chrome, and in this case we're having only one browser which is open and it has tested both the tests. We can run on Firefox as well, but let's keep that apart. So in this example, what we have seen, we are having two different test cases, and the common thing which we have moved out is creating the driver. Now if I want to run the test case on a different browser, okay, say for example if I want to run it on Chrome and after some time I want to run it on Firefox, then what is going to happen? I need to change the code. I need to make it a Firefox driver. So the logic, the problem that we face over here is we can, if we understand Java code, then only we can make this change. If it's an end user, he or she cannot change it. So creation of the driver should not be part of the test case logic. So we should not have this information. We should never have how we are creating the driver. The driver should be created automatically. Okay. So we're going to create a note of it. So what are the things that we are going to do in our framework? So let's create a file in our framework. Right click, new file, and we are going to call the file as todo.txt. In the framework we're creating the file, so let's click OK. To-do for the framework development. First thing, driver creation to be task of framework, and it's not going to be written, never going to be written near the test case logic. Again, we're going to add one more thing. Let me tell you, now I'm having a single test class. So this is a single class that I have. In the real world project, I'm never going to have a single class which is having all the test cases. There will be some hundreds or tens or 20 classes present, and in each class we cannot do this thing. We cannot set the property in each and every class. We cannot have set the code to setting up the environment. So this is also wrong. We cannot do this again and again. So we can have this in the framework. So let's keep this thing in the framework. Environment variable, environment setup to be part of framework. That is Gecko driver and driver path setup. So anyone having any doubt, just let me know. So these are the two things which you can do in the framework, and the test cases that we are writing is going to inherit those things from the framework, and we are going to have all this code removed. We'll just have the logic to test our test case. Guys, anyone having any doubt, let me know.